Gonzaga Nation SI, the day after the NBA draft, the smoke is settled, the smoke is cleared. Have clarity on where the Gonzaga players that we've been tracking, following closely. I know you're interested in hearing more about them and their future prospects and their places have landed, as well as the WCC guys. Overall, it was a big night again for the WCC. 3 players being drafted, being Julian Strother of Gonzaga, went 29 to Denver. 19th pick, Brandon Pajemski from Santa Clara to the Golden State Warriors. And at pick 40, Maxwell Lewis of Pepperdine goes to the Los Angeles Lakers. Drew Timme, obviously as a Gonzaga fan, which I'm guessing you are by listening to this, you were hoping to hear Drew Timme's name. I was hoping to hear Drew Timme's name, but again, I didn't think we were going to hear Drew Timme's name based on when you look at the value placed on his skill set and the value placed on upside and future skill sets for many of the guys that were drafted. Didn't think that Timme would be getting drafted, but he did sign what is called an Exhibit 10 contract with the Milwaukee Bucks. Essentially what an Exhibit 10 is, it's a 1-year minimum salary deal that can be converted to a 2-way deal between the parent team in the NBA and the G League team of that organization at any point before the regular season starts. So really what this does is it gives Drew a long window to prove himself in summer league, late summer workouts with the coaching staff in Milwaukee, all the way through training camp. It gives him a big time opportunity to really kind of earn a position on the Milwaukee Bucks roster. When you look at the roster for the Bucks and an opportunity for Drew Timme, now you don't know what's going to happen in free agency, but when you look at it right now, they don't have interior scoring outside of Giannis, but Giannis isn't your back to the basket kind of player. He's more of your big who steps out and attacks it off the dribble, slasher, cutter, attacker. The bigs on the roster right now are step out, face, shoot the 3, 5-man, and that would be Brook Lopez, who started his career as a low post scorer and is now a tremendous 3-point shooter with deep range. And then Myers Leonard, who they signed towards the end of the year. I'm not sure what Myers' contract status is moving into next year, but he's another kind of pick and pop big 5-man who shoots a lot of threes. So when I had talked in the past about Drew Timme being a curveball off the bench for some teams, this is where it becomes interesting. And you think, you know what, maybe Milwaukee had that same type of idea in what Drew would bring to the table for them, because you've got a player, or you got 2 bigs in Leonard and Brook Lopez who are pick and pop face up 5s. Drew Timme is more of your back to the basket post up guy, duck in guy, catching in a short roll and pick and rolls and attack the basket guy. So what you're seeing is that curveball effect that I had mentioned. So we'll be interesting to see how summer league plays out, see how he plays, because Coach Budenholzer was fired after the season, even though the Bucks won the championship 2 years ago. They've got a new head coach in Adrian Griffin, and so that's something that I also think is a benefit and a bonus to Drew Timme, in the fact that Coach Griffin, nobody knows the true philosophy, the style that they're going to play. And so Adrian Griffin and the front office in Milwaukee probably had many conversations about what Adrian Griffin would want the end of his bench to look like based on the style of play that he's planning to employ. So I think it's a good landing spot for Drew Timme. Will be fun to follow him in summer league and see if he gets off to a great start and can kind of get his NBA career started off on the right path. Same with Gonzaga topics. Julian Strother, a bit of a surprise here for me. I'll be honest with you. I had said in our final draft preview that I thought come about the 35th pick, you should start paying attention, because you might start hearing a familiar name in Julian Strother. I thought Podziemski and Lewis would go before Strother. I was correct with Podziemski, but not with Lewis. So Julian Strother goes 29th pick to the Denver Nuggets. Pretty interesting pick. When you look at Denver's roster, they do have a number of wings and a number of young wings that can do a few different things. Christian Brown, rookie this past year, had an unbelievable early start to his career out of Kansas. He's a similar position type player. Peyton Watson, who played at UCLA, spent time in the G League back and forth last year, but similar position. So I would imagine he's battling minutes for in the future with those two would be. When you look at the veterans at those positions, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, not sure what the contract status is for them, but what I would imagine and what I see is Denver wanting to have another shooter to pair with a playmaker in Nikola Jokic, a slasher in Aaron Gordon, a playmaker as well at the backcourt with Jamal Murray. So they want a shooter, they want size, they want length. And I think this is where, again, I said I thought Lewis would go before Strother. This is where I think the Gonzaga pedigree and understanding how to develop a career at the college level and then try to do it at the NBA level. I think this is where the Gonzaga pedigree of winning and the culture of winning gives a player like Julian Strother the nod over Maxwell Lewis. So excited to see how he plays in summer league. Should be interesting, should be fun. But another Gonzaga player drafted in the first round makes it at least, I believe it's 4 straight years, maybe 5 straight years now, a Gonzaga player has been in the first round of the draft. So congrats to him. The other 2 players out of the WCC, Brandon Podziemski goes 19 to the Golden State Warriors. I think this is a tremendous pick for Golden State because he's a big guard with size who can shoot it, who can play make it, can rebound. He's just a tough, hard-nosed player. And, Jordan Poole being traded, now I'm not saying he's going to slide in and take that kind of responsibility right off the bat, because with them also getting Chris Paul, it'll be interesting to see, does Chris Paul start and Steph Curry they start 2 point guards? Does CP3 be the backup point guard coming in off the bench, essentially as a 6-man with a second unit like a Podziemski to kind of set the table and make things easy? It'll be really interesting to see, but I really do like this pick for the Warriors and for Podziemski. I think it's a really good fit. The last WCC product, Maxwell Lewis, Southern California product, played at Pepperdine for 2 years, gets to stay home, gets to play with the Lakers, gets to play with LeBron. A player who I thought was going to be at the end of the first, very early part of the second round. But again, once some trades start occurring, once 1 or 2 players either go higher than expected or maybe slide, it can kind of really set off a number of different circumstances that'll make a player like Lewis not go maybe as high as projected, even though, 40th selection in the NBA draft definitely makes you feel like there's a future there, because there is a weird, unique cutoff, probably around the 47 to 50 mark, where many times player organizations will start drafting players to stash them overseas, as opposed to having plans for them with their current roster up. So all in all, a great night for the WCC. Interesting stuff. Again, Timme on exhibit 10 to the Bucks, Strother to the Nuggets, Podziemski to the Warriors, and Maxwell Lewis to the Lakers. Going to be fun following all these guys in the NBA Summer League. But what's going to be more important and more interesting now is what happens with the rest of the league. Is there going to be more trades? Is there going to be some free agent signings? Are there some other former Zags maybe that played overseas that are going to have an opportunity to play in Summer League and maybe carve out a new opportunity for themselves in the NBA? So for Gonzaga Nation SI, appreciate you joining.